the desert of the real.
Welcome to the Desert of the Real. I'm your host, Jason Dietz, and I'm joined with my other host, Ryan Hudson. The Desert of the Real is a movie podcast where I am forced to watch big blockbuster movies that I refuse to watch because I didn't think they were worth my time. We're currently going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. We're two high school English, film, philosophy, creativity, and music appreciation teachers with graduate degrees, using our academic training to dig deeply into movies. We explore the creativity, philosophy, film studies, and ethics in our films, and push our listeners to think critically about their entertainment. Welcome to Avengers Endgame, Part 2. So, in Act 4, I still do not understand Thanos' power. I do not understand how he can beat Thor and Iron Man and Cap. What does he have?
I guess he's just insanely strong, and like things can't hurt him. He's super impenetrable.
Oh, sure.
It's kind of like,
but that's not true, because the movie starts with they show up and literally just
with the God Killer. That's
great. He's got the God Killer.
I know.
So it doesn't.
But okay, I guess hold on, pause. Because to me, it's similar to like Superman, all powerful, but Superman has villains who are stronger than him, like Doomsday or whatever. It's kind of like that. He's just physically stronger than Thor, and this Thanos, he's got weapons and armor. It's like the Thanos pre-Infinity War. Like this is what I wear to kill people. So he, I guess, to argue why can't Thor just kill him? Because he's ready for the fight this time. He's wearing the armor. He's got the weapons. And the last time he was literally in a t-shirt. His arm is crippled. He's not willing or expecting to fight at that scene.
Okay. That's fair.
I know.
But anyhow,
I think, I don't know. It's a fun fight. I don't know.
I guess it was, yeah.
Because I guess what I love,
it's probably something I hated.
This is probably the weakest part of the entire movie.
The fight?
This big fight.
I agree.
In fact, it used to be my biggest gripe. Is this act essentially?
Yeah, I disliked it almost entirely.
When I first saw this movie, I actually gave it 3.5 stars. I've bumped it up though, just because. Well, I'll get to why. Just hold your horses there. The movie was originally set in like a forest. You can see like behind the scenes sequences with all these actors and stuff in like a forest that was like clearly had bombs going off and stuff. But for whatever reason, they just swapped out the trees for rubble and rock and things. And it's a boring fighting location. It's just blah,
Yeah.
However, I do think it's cool that it's Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, our original 3 guys versus Thanos.
Right.
And so that alone, I guess, it's like these are that's why they build up to together to the end type of thing.
Sure.
We started, and now we have our ultimate foe, and we are going to fight together one more time.
Our ultimate ill-defined foe that's super powerful for some reason that we don't have a clue.
Did we bring up the Ant-Man theory last time? There was. I can't remember if we did, but I don't know. The Ant-Man, like, why? It was a popular joke on the internet. Ant-Man, when he's tiny, he just needs to crawl into Thanos' butt and then grow to giant man.
Sure. Like, it seems to me there are so many ways to defeat someone like Thanos. I don't understand how it's so difficult, but that's okay.
I mean,
it's fine. It's whatever.
No,
Act 4, I was not happy with. So why can Thanos wield the axe? I thought only the worthy...
Thanos?
Yeah. There are various points in which Thanos has the axe and like whatever it's called, God Soul Stealer.
What is the
Stormbringer?
Stormbringer?
Stormbringer. Why can he wield it? Because
Well,
that would suggest that Thanos also is worthy.
I guess two things. That rule might not be applied to the axe, only to the hammer, because it's never said.
Okay.
I think it just takes a mighty being to wield the axe, because arguably
Okay.
Groot picks it up to become the handle, and he's just really strong. He just kind of lifts it off.
Okay.
I don't think that rule was. It's never said in the movie, so
No, it isn't. I guess I just assumed. So the whole assembly of all of the people was a bit much, like a bit way too much.
You think so?
Honestly, it was like, it was just. I mean, I understand why they did it, but that was a huge eye roll moment for me. And this
No.
person shows up, and this person shows up, and this person. I understand it. I'm sure everyone in the theater was like, "Yeah!" But
No, that's not okay. Hold on. You're jumping too far.
okay, my bad.
I mean, here's another nitpick that is kind of lame. Like, Thanos needed these magical space dwarves to wield the gauntlet. Then Tony can just build
Right. Well,
this
right.
this new one.
Yes.
So I'm surprised you didn't say that, because
Well, it's
is it in your
here,
notes?
but I'm jumping
that's
ahead.
whatever.
so-
I mean, you could argue maybe with modern technology.
Sure.
Because he says this has enough power to.
Because the
light up
universe
a
just
continent.
pooped out these stones, so why not?
Yeah, on the right hand glove. So I don't have the same issues with Thanos that you do, but
It's not really an issue. I just want to understand what is his power.
he's just really big and really strong and hard to
But
hurt.
that seems like the God of Thunder would not have a problem dealing with that. Like, you hit him with a frickin' enormous bolt of lightning. It doesn't matter how strong he is, he explodes. But like, let's just move on, because we're never ever gonna.
To be fair, I think,
Or Captain Marvel,
Captain Marvel, like,
or Scarlet Witch.
I was just about to get to these two
Okay.
things. I think Scarlet Witch was about to kill him when she's picking up, like, you took everything from me.
Yeah.
I don't even know who you are.
Right.
He was about to die, and then he says, "Rain fire!"
Right.
And then all the missiles come and stuff. And then he headbutts Captain Marvel. She doesn't even flinch.
Right.
She could have defeated him.
But
He takes a power stone and hits her away, and then Iron Man. Then he was about to snap. Like, it was just that second.
anyhow.
Oh my gosh! Now you're just being
No,
annoying.
it just makes no sense. Like, I understand why they did it.
Okay.
Because, we have to have all these great emotional moments.
Okay.
But this is the act that I felt like the emotion did not work. The showing up of all the people for me didn't work. Everyone having their little moment with Thanos, I thought was dumb, because, like, you're not going to be, if you're legit trying to defeat this guy that's going to wipe out everything, you're not going to be like, wait, I didn't get a moment yet, let me have a moment. Okay, you have a moment. You're not going to be doing that. It's all out, kill Thanos, because once Thanos is dead, everything is fixed. But anyhow,
All right,
moving
hold on. You're still too far ahead for me yet. And also, that's just ridiculous. Come on.
Oh my.
I don't
Oh my.
acknowledge
That's fine.
that argument.
That's fine.
Because whatever. And I'm already saying this is the weak point. It's also kind of a letdown that this Thanos isn't the Thanos of Infinity War. So, like, the emotion, I guess in quotes, in
Right.
case that wasn't clear, isn't the same. But,
Right.
I like how Thanos, he says, "The arrogant never suspect anything."
Right.
And then he sits down, like, being
Right.
the most arrogant guy ever.
Yes. Yeah.
I also kind of like Nebula gets a lot of screen time in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, a lot.
Yep.
She gets the two people, but she gets to, like, stand up for her sister and stuff. And try to convince her past self, and literally kills her past self.
Which
not even
is literally the grandfather paradox. Literally.
All right, Dr. Dietz, I'll tell you what. Let's get a time machine and test it out, okay?
If you go into the past and kill yourself.
Yeah, but you are still alive.
No.
Whatever. Doesn't it literally? We're not going back into it.
No, we're not.
Okay, so you mentioned Thanos. He doesn't even really use the axe. He kind of just throws it off to the side, right?
No, I'm pretty sure he uses it several times, because I was like, I think he's
pushing it into Thor at one point.
Sure.
And Thor's but then what happens? A little moment when Mjolnir gets thrown at him, and then gets hit back, and Captain America.
Yeah, that is my favorite moment.
Okay,
of the movie.
So this movie was packed. Every seat filled. The energy, the cheers, the yells that came out when that happened.
Yeah,
it was just a solid moment. It's incredible that moment.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
I absolutely love that.
Thor going, I knew it.
Yeah.
Because you see it move way back in Age of Ultron.
Right. Yep.
And I guess Captain America decided not to lift it up and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was a moment that I don't know if movies can earn again. It's hard to think of anything ever topping that, even to this day.
I agree. That was an amazing moment, even for me. And
then it leads to this moment. Thor was hit off, Iron Man hit off, whatever. Captain America, his shield is cracked.
Right.
He tightens his thing. So, earlier in the movie, I can do this all day. It's yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And then, without saying those words, he says it again.
Right.
I can do this.
Straps it on.
I'm facing an entire army by myself. Yep. I can do this all day.
That's why Captain America is the best one.
Yeah.
He's freaking awesome.
It's great.
Team Cap all the way.
That's when you get the on your left callback thing, and then everyone starts coming in. Yeah. And then once again, it's all fan service.
Yes. Maybe that's what I don't like.
You don't
like
fan service.
Maybe that's it. Because it was just thing after thing after thing. One of my least favorite parts of this is when Captain Marvel is getting ready to take the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you going to do? And then all the female characters, don't worry, she has help. Of all the characters in this movie that don't need the help of those people, she's the one. What are they going to do to help her? That was so dumb.
When we recorded our Infinity War episode, there's that moment where Wanda, Black Widow, and then the captain of the guard, I don't know her name, I guess.
Right.
They're fighting. And you even brought up how it's a nice moment, these female heroes working together. And I said something to the effect of, not a moment that clearly takes away and is just showboaty and takes you out of a movie at all.
Right. Well, this one was totally like that.
Because you're right. That
should not have been included.
I see what they're doing, but that's why it's a problem.
In the whatever other movie, it wasn't as much of a problem.
No, it's not a problem at all. But
right, because they're more balanced in their power. Here, they're basically bring me a mimosa level power compared to what she is.
And the thing, you could break it down and be most of these characters don't even know each other.
Right.
And it's just to show off how many female characters there are now.
That was not a good moment.
And I see that's kind of cool, but it's definitely I get what they're doing.
Yeah.
Type of moment.
Didn't like it.
But hold on. Before your however, when he says Avengers assemble, that's another moment the audience lost it.
Yeah.
Man. To see this in a packed theater was...
I imagine so. Yeah. This is the first one of these movies that I kind of wish I would have been a part of that experience with.
Yeah. And I think, and everyone else who's already seen these or saw these, that's part of part of our attachment to these movies. Like
Yeah, I'm
Mark
sure.
said, and I'll bring up even later. It's just a part of our lives in some ways. Like
Yeah.
talking with friends about it or
I'm
whatever.
sure.
Arguing with strangers on the internet about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just another moment. Everyone went
Just
nuts.
lost it.
Yeah.
There are a couple of really good moments in the act for like emotionally fulfilling, like when Iron Man hugs Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was a very that's another one of those moments where I was like, oh man, he is a human being. He
Yeah.
has actual emotions. He loves people. It was a great moment. Also, I love her Doctor Strange's Moses, like parting the Red Sea kind of thing.
I know. And
I liked that.
I literally just the other day at time of recording, like, oh, they gave Doctor Strange like this job to do. Like, yeah, I mean, he's super powerful, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he could have done more, but he is doing a lot. He's holding up a lake.
The whole ocean or lake or whatever.
They need to give everyone, this is the problem with ensemble movies.
Yes.
How can you give enough to people, enough for everyone to do and it feels satisfying? It's
Right.
almost impossible.
And they didn't succeed in this movie.
It is what it is.
It is what it
They
is.
try to highlight our characters doing fun things, but
Yeah. That's all I have for Act 4.
when it's rain, fire, and all the missiles are coming down, I like how Rocket like covers Groot's body.
Yeah, that was cute.
You would never know this unless you were a super fan, I guess, but James Gunn writes out Groot's lines, like what he's saying. And when he says, I am Groot, right before he gets dusted, he says father to Rocket.
Oh.
So they have this father-son thing going on. Yeah, and I think, like I said, for years I used to have an issue with this being a different Thanos. But I think watching back-to-back, pretty close with Infinity War, it somehow just carries over. Like,
Yeah, I didn't really notice.
yeah, and Thanos' plan is different now. He's like, I'm just going to start it over. You convinced me that it's not going to work again. I'm going to do it differently. It's like it's never been personal, but I am going to enjoy.
But now it is. Yeah.
And okay, I guess I only have one final note too, is the Iron Man snapping thing. Just, I guess the ending of the first movie starts with I am Iron Man.
Right.
And this movie ends with Iron Man. Like,
Yeah. It was inevitable.
Yeah. That's what Thanos says.
I know. I didn't. I'm sure the fans loved it. I was like, yeah, okay.
My sister said when she saw this movie in theaters, the guy next to her, when Tony's like, I am, the guy's like pissed off, trying to guess the line. But no, it needed to be Iron Man.
It did. Yeah. And then Act 5.
Act 5 is the shortest act. It's falling action, the denouement.
denouement.
Yeah. All the good stuff.
Not
Not good stuff?
I don't know.
Once again, it's maybe all fan service because
It is. Yeah. Actually, I take that back. Like, it did a great job closing it.
Yeah.
Wrapping it up. I especially loved the Captain America thing.
When he goes back in time.
Yeah, it was just...
And just sticks
It
around.
was just so perfect.
You would assume during the funeral scene that those...
Which was garbage.
What do you mean it was garbage? Why was that garbage?
And it just...
No, why
you
was
would
it garbage? No, you tell me your thing first.
Well, before that, though, I don't understand why Tony's little heart reactor stops.
Like...
When he dies, why would that reactor stop?
Which reactor? What are you talking about?
The thing in his heart. Like
that died down?
Whatever. Yeah, it died.
There's probably not a scientific answer. It's just he died. You're right. I guess if it was an eternal battery, it would never.
Anyhow, that didn't make sense.
Whatever.
Spider-Man, after 5 years, goes back to high school?
Okay, so...
And his friend is still in high school?
So you have to assume, Ned also got... blipped. That's what they call it after this, the blip.
Is that what?
But like in the next movie, is Spider-Man Far From Home. It's there's a funny moment where there's teenagers in high school that are annoyed with like because to them they were just gone they weren't even gone, you know. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So like, there's a kind of a funny moment where it talks about like, oh, when I was here, that kid was a freshman. Now they're a senior or whatever.
Right.
And like, oh, I can't believe we were about to do tests. I have to go back to the beginning of the school year.
So 5 years didn't pass. Oh, okay. So then that makes a lot more sense.
So it's like there's still.
That makes a lot more sense.
That movie does. The next one has like a moment where it talks about. I can't remember because we'll see it, but like, man, can you believe they have to make us go to the beginning of school again? It's because you were gone for 5 years. Yeah, if you got blipped away, you were not gone. You just like blinked or something. So
to get to Tony's thing, I feel like everything that happens with Tony after his death cheapens what happened in Act 4 for him.
Oh, really?
Like his farewell speech, music thing, like it all just kind of, I don't know what other word to use. I feel like it cheapens what happened.
Like them listening to the recording?
Yeah, that.
The funeral?
The funeral.
I don't.
Well, I mean, you don't agree with a lot of stuff, but like the moment he gave up everything, he sacrificed it all.
Yeah.
We have Pepper there. Pepper lets him go. Anything that comes after that is going to rob that moment of its. Like, that's a perfect moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's the moment where he finally achieves what he wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
He saved
the
world.
He
protected the world. He made the ultimate sacrifice. And now we're going to, like, schmaltz it up and add all this additional weeping and crap after that. No. Just let him have done that.
It's also kind of the legacy thing where it's... Let's get all of these actors back.
Right. Which is... No. Okay. I'll shut up.
They are trying to honor, at the very least, the man who accomplished getting rid of Thanos. You know what I mean? Like, even if they didn't know Tony personally, it's like, I'll go pay my respects to the man who saved everyone.
Like, I understand what funerals are for.
Right.
I get that.
I don't
It just... The events surrounding his death and his death was emotionally complete.
Right.
It was whole. It didn't need anything else. It doesn't need additional emotion. Any additional emotion after the completing of that is, at least for me, I'm not a pathos-driven person. For me, was just like, let's milk this for all the pathos that we can get out of it, and it didn't hold for me. So anyhow, that's
so interesting. The way your brain works sometimes.
Yeah, I'm a weird duck.
However, when he has his recording, I like Harry's like, why am I even tripping? Which has always made me laugh. But he made it for, his family.
Right.
But when he says, I love you 3000, he does look directly into camera. Like, he's saying goodbye to the fans. He's saying goodbye to us.
Okay.
I mean, it's...
this movie has a ton of moments that I was like, heck yes. That was perfect. That was perfect. Yeah. This farewell speech was not one of those for me.
Well, all right.
Which is... I mean, I'm giving a lot here.
You are.
There's a lot of
sometimes your negatives
moments
kind of boggle my brain, though.
Okay.
You don't have to justify it. You already did.
Okay, I did. That's true.
Anyway, you would think during the funeral scene that some of these people were put in digitally after the fact. Like how many there are. They're just kind of standing kind of perfectly separated from everyone. They are all there in real life. Like everyone there was actually there. All these famous people.
Okay, yeah.
That's cool and hard to do. They have complicated schedules, whatever.
Right.
And some of them were told that they were at a wedding. At least like Tom Holland, Spider-Man was told he was at a wedding or something. The people they couldn't trust. So like that. Okay. So that
send off of the flowers or whatever, and the setup of that scene illustrates, I think, what I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you've ever been at a funeral, everyone is together.
Yeah.
Like, we're all together, you know, saying goodbye, whatever. The graveside is the same thing. We're all together. The fact that they separated them out into like 8 or 9 different groups just kind of, to me, highlights the fact that this is not an actual emotional experience.
I guess
this is simply us. Oh, look at this person. This person is also sad. So are these people.
They're trying to show how many people have influenced this one moment of Tony's
Sure, I get it.
And like you get Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Angela Bassett.
All in their separate little groups.
Oh my gosh.
So that we can pause for a moment on this group. It's not a funeral. It's not a legitimate emotional experience.
I can't even.
Let's move on.
Is sometimes.
Let's move on.
Gosh. I can't even understand this argument.
I don't
even want you to even talk about it anymore because
let's move on.
How dumb I find this. And then like Black Widow, I was like, oh, we forgot Black Widow. I like how they get some characters to at least talk about her during Tony's
1 character, 2 characters.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
So which illustrates what I've been saying all along, that she's really not that important. Like, she doesn't have much power. She doesn't have anyhow.
Anyway,
I have 2 more things.
I have 2 more things
and
too.
And then we get to philosophy. So you want to go?
Okay. Actually, just one more thing.
Actually, also one more thing.
What are the odds? With Happy talking to Morgan.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to eat? And she says cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
It's such a little thing, but it like goes back to that first Iron Man movie. Like, your dad liked cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. Yeah. And it's just a nice,
nice
little
That was
moment.
good.
And then, you know, you already mentioned, I like how Steve Rogers chooses it for himself. Be with the woman he's always loved, the only woman he's loved. Stupid She-Hulk. Shout out to She-Hulk being the worst. Oh my gosh. They were just like, there's a joke of like Captain America being the 90-year-old virgin or whatever. She-Hulk asks Hulk about it, and then apparently Captain America confessed to Hulk at one point that he slept with one of the dancers from the first Captain America movie. That's dumb. He's only ever had eyes for one woman. He's an old-fashioned, classy man, and he ended up with her.
Yep.
But in the comics, both Falcon and Winter Soldier have been Captain America at different points.
Sure.
And I like how this movie, he gives it to Sam. I think that makes more sense. And I think
Why?
Well,
Sam's
I guess
like a nobody.
Well, like no, he's been ever since they met in Winter Soldier, he's been with Captain every step of the way.
Right, but
and
he doesn't have any actual
so maybe that's part of it. Winter Soldier, he has powers. He's stronger
But I don't understand how Sam can possibly be Captain America.
Well, like he'll have his suit, like in their TV show. So he uses the flying suit and the shield.
But he cannot do anything that Captain America can do.
But it's more about what Captain America represents.
Oh, okay.
That's a show I wish was a movie, like just a 2-hour movie instead of like a 6-episode show. Because there's some interesting things too. Like he goes for one point to get a loan. And like, oh yeah, I know you're an Avenger, but you don't qualify for a loan. Yeah. And like, there's some interesting things that show throws in and stuff. And like, the government tries to recreate Captain America, and that guy gets like into his own ego and stuff. So there are great things there, but I also, you're not gonna watch it. And
no,
it should have been a 2-hour movie. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
The next Captain America, Sam will be, because that movie's coming out, sometime in the future. Anyway.
Wait, when we get done with these, no, I'm done.
You're done. We're getting to Deadpool 3 in this series. For this podcast.
Then I don't have to watch any more of them?
Then we'll be done, yeah.
Ever?
Well, I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
I actually almost cried when I after this. I'm like, they can't have made many more movies because this is a perfect ending.
Did you look it up?
Yeah, and there were 12 more, and I literally almost cried because I thought I was almost done. Anyhow, why Cap gave Sam the shield was my last question, because we already talked about how Hulk cannot say, "Remember to return the stones to the exact moment," and have the logic of the whole rest of the movie hold true. Sure. Philosophically, this was awesome. Like, this had so many awesome philosophical things going on in it. So, like, when Howard Stark says the greater good has rarely outweighed my own self-interest, that is a legitimate philosophy. Self-interest, like, I'm only interested in me. That's a scary philosophy, but that's like encapsulates that. Black Widow says, "I don't judge people on their worst mistake." Again, fantastic philosophy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's exclusively Christian, but since I'm, from Christian background, I recognize that's Christian philosophy.
Yeah.
We don't judge people by their worst mistakes. We see the whole person kind of thing. Thanos says, "As long as there are those who remember what was, there will always be those who cannot accept what can be." A fantastic philosophical moment. If we are insistent on living in the past, and our past mistakes influencing our present, and we're unable to let go of that, we are not going to move forward. We're not going to progress. And so Thanos has actually a number of things that I feel like he hits right on the head.
Right.
And that's one of them.
Do you, you should try to throw some of these because you teach a philosophical class. Mm-hmm. You should be like, some of these.
Sure.
That we've seen.
I actually probably will use a lot of my notes.
Yeah. From
these, because, another one from Thanos, all he wants is a grateful universe.
Right. Yeah.
So in terms of philosophy, gratitude is a huge part of most of the philosophies that have become religions. So like Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, like if you look at the virtues, so one of the big philosophical questions is what virtues should define our lives. Gratitude shows up in every single one of them. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting. In terms of Thanos, who's the bad guy, he's the one that is hitting these really kind of key philosophical concepts. He just goes wrong on the one thing, which again in philosophy it helps us to see when we become myopic, when we become focused in our attentions on only one goal. Yeah. Even if everything else is in place and good and working and intelligent and logical, we run the risk of derailing ourselves. Yeah. We have to be complete people. We can't just be, a really good father, for example, and let everything else go. We have to be complete people. And then the last thing is from Tony's The End speech, where he says everything is going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to. That's a philosophical stance that suggests determinism, which is a free will versus determinism. It suggests that Tony believes in determinism. Yeah. We don't have free will. Everything will work out how it's supposed to work out.
Yeah. Did you ever see, here's a movie shout out, The Best Marigold Exotic Hotel?
I think so.
I think that's what it's like. These old rich people go to India and then at this one hotel type of thing. And
yeah, I think I did.
That's like one of the core themes of that movie is like everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not yet okay, it is not yet the end type of thing.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing?
No, it's related to that.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of the same thing. So, in terms of philosophy, this I think had the most number of concepts that it was dealing with of any of the other movies, which is another reason why I felt like this was such a powerful movie. If they had figured out some other way to do this movie without having the logical issues, this again I think would have been a perfect movie.
Yeah.
It was an emotionally almost perfect movie. So that's our philosophy of the real.
I like that. I would put money on if you asked everyone what your favorite Avenger movie is out of the four, most people would vote this one.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think Infinity War is still my personal favorite, but
Yeah, I'm sure. I think it's my favorite of the four.
I did something a little bit different. So I finished this movie, midnight, close to after midnight. And then I just wrote a thing, and I just wanted to read the thing I wrote. Building up to this movie was only excitement. There are the strange people who don't mind knowing everything beforehand. There are the out-of-touch night show hosts that tried to get tidbits of information from all of these actors. Trailers only showed the bare minimum of this 3-hour movie. Some trailers only showed us previous footage from the films. You never knew when someone might spoil anything, though. You needed to be there opening weekend, even though the cast and directors begged everyone to please not spoil this movie. So tickets were bought early, obviously. It's square in the midst of summer, and I was at my in-laws' house, their lake house, with my wife and her younger siblings. And the house is nice. Like, literally in the morning, beautiful, afternoon, evening, it's gorgeous. But I was excited for Endgame in the midst of summer vacation, essentially. And everywhere I look, being beautiful, my mind is on one thing: Endgame. I remember even watching a YouTube video, unrelated, but not looking at the comments because I didn't want the spare chance of some random spoiler being said. That's how I need to go in. Don't go on the internet. Don't look at anything. I need to go in as blind as humanly possible. But we were in a packed theater. No soda for me. In fact, I didn't drink all day. I didn't want to risk the chance of missing a millisecond to go to the bathroom. My popcorn's ready. My wife was next to me. We couldn't even sit with our siblings. Packed. Long before the movie started, packed. And we saw a matinee in the middle of the day. Those 3 hours flew by. I was a sponge, and this movie was soaked up every square inch. It was all we could talk about on the whole way home around the lake. It was all I could think about the rest of the day. I could finally now brave going on the internet to see what others were saying. Obviously wanting to show off different ideas and takes, pointing out things that could have been better, highlighting flaws, but that is part of it. Movies need time to settle and ruminate. So why Avengers? Why did this work so well? Rewatching movies for this podcast has been an interesting experiment since we are attempting to take a closer look at them. Obviously, there are still a number of movies to go for Phase 4, but this was and still is the crowning achievement of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Their flaws have been out there for all to see. There are some real duds. But it took some of the bad to realize how much better the good ones could be. As people previously stated throughout this entire podcast, I can recall specific moments of life by using these movies as an anchor. These are blockbusters in every sense of the word, but blockbusters, also known as tentpole films, help lift the industry up so that these studios can afford to make other types of movies. But they serve as tentpoles to life as well. No, they are not all the same in quality. Some are funnier than others, and some are more rewatchable than others. But movies are supposed to take us to places we have never been. They're supposed to give us ideas to think about and ponder about. As Michael J. Fox once said, there's a reason they say movies are magic. Movies can change your day, they can change your outlook, and sometimes they can change your life. No one might argue that any of these movies are the pinnacle of cinema, but they definitely can fill the imagination. They can inspire someone to want to tell their own stories or to make movies. But these films definitely capture heart. Seeing Captain America say his signature catchphrase by tightening his strap, seeing Thor embrace his path and pick himself back up, Peter Parker not wanting to let Tony down, Nebula needing a sister, Black Panther wanting to change the world, and Tony telling us he loves us 3000. It was all connected, and they're all part of something beautiful. There will never be another movie like this in our lifetime. 5 years later, and the same series is nowhere close to building up to anything like this. We have spent so much time with these characters that they are all familiar to us. We see the original heroes going off on one final mission and who they have been molded molded to is facing off against Thanos. Tony has slowly been turned into the rule follower and family man. Steve has remained positive and does the right thing, but is now willing to bend the rules and think about what is best for him. Thor lost everything and everyone, but found a newfound meaning for himself. Hulk is embracing both sides of him. And like mentioned, we have grown and changed with them in our own lives. These movies represent this hope that there will be heroes. These movies represent this hope that there will be heroes in life to do the right thing. It gives us people to admire, or at the very least, heroic acts to appreciate. This franchise changed the industry. It felt like we were a part of something as fans. We knew the secret code. We spoke the same language for a time. And we can look at this series that was been going on, how everything has changed when these movies were happening to us. But it always gave us, as a society, something to talk about, something to share an interest to, and something to look forward to. And I guess that's what Endgame has kind of represented for a lot of people. I don't even know if that all even makes sense. That's what I wrote at 1 o'clock in the morning.
That was gorgeous.
But like, I don't know. The funny thing is my twin, when we on the face call, he kind of even alluded to that. We didn't talk about that at all. But like, this series, not for you because you're watching for the first time, but for a lot of us, it's just something that's been with us for so long. And yeah, maybe there are a lot fewer good ones as there are bad ones, but we've seen them all come and go, and we've welcomed them into our lives type of thing. Yeah. And I don't know. So I was maybe trying to think about, instead of some sort of film studies take, some sort of essay take on why this series matters, why we stick with it, and why we like these movies. So I don't know.
I loved that. That was great.
But there have been a lot of copycats. Like,
sure,
this whole idea of a cinematic universe was proven successful here, and one that did not work was the DCU, the Batman one,
right?
Because they did Superman movie, Batman versus Superman, and then the Justice League movie with the idea of doing, let's start with Avengers first and then go backwards. It didn't really work out. It petered out, and it was not very good. But one that has been working secretly in the background is the Conjuring universe. So the Conjuring has its own movies, but then the Annabelle movies have their own movies. There's that scary nun. She's got her own movies. They mentioned a bride. Like, it's a whole cinematic universe. One that famously did not work was the Dark Universe, where do you know about this?
No.
They had this whole plan. They had famous actors all lined up and everything. The Universal logo happens with the world, and then the music gets weird, and the Earth turns around to the dark side of the planet, and it said the Dark Universe.
What was it going to be?
The first and only movie. Well, I guess technically Dracula Untold, I think, is part of it.
Oh, like the Universal movie?
The Universal monster movies. But then the Tom Cruise Mummy movie came out and bombed so bad they stopped it. They had Russell.
That would have been awesome.
They had Russell Crowe to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They had Johnny Depp to be the Invisible Man.
Two of my favorite actors
all of these
ever.
Things. And then the Mummy bombed.
Why did they go with Tom Cruise?
I don't know.
Holy crap! The friggin'. Oh man, now I hate him even more.
But if you
I could have had Russell Crowe as Jekyll and Hyde.
If you watch The Mummy with Tom Cruise, he is in there as Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Oh.
But he was gonna get his own movie and stuff. So that's one, like, they were just trying to copycat. Did not work. A successful one so far, I mean, I guess financially, is the monster cinematic universe with King Kong and Godzilla. Because there was Godzilla, there was a King Kong movie, another Godzilla movie, Godzilla and King Kong, and then there's another one just came out. They're still trudging along. So there's that. And then I guess I mean, there's other attempts too. You could argue Fast and Furious, they had their spin-off and probably wanted to do more spin-offs, but I don't know if I don't even know if it was unsuccessful financially, but they didn't make more of them. And like Harry Potter will say before there's like 3. Did you see the Fantastic Beasts movies?
No.
There's a logo that just says the Wizarding World, meaning like this is the Wizarding World cinematic universe.
Oh.
And that kind of petered off as well.
Yeah. Now that we're here at the end,
Yeah.
like it feels very perfect.
Right.
And I feel I can see how that would be very to try and copy, but I think it would be virtually impossible to copy the emotional investment and the power of the MCU.
Like, and somehow Fast and Furious is just the other tentpole franchise that's not based on some pre-existing thing besides like the first Fast and Furious.
I wish it would go away. For real.
It's its own thing, its own problem.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, Spider-Man Far From Home came out this same year, was also successful and stuff. But then then it'll be interesting from your point of view, because we are moving on, whether you want to or not, how these movies play off, especially not watching the Disney Plus
TV shows.
series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we hear the ethics of the reel?
Yeah, real briefly. In the planning phase, I think Rhodey is the one that says, why don't we just go back in time and strangle baby Thanos?
Right.
Why not? That's an ethical question. So it's a pretty standard thought experiment. Like, if you could go back in time and kill Hitler as a baby, would you do it? That's the same thing here. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like they give like an actual answer to it. They're just like, oh, that's kind of dark. Let's move on.
The answer is what we've already argued about.
Right.
How it wouldn't affect our current situation.
Which makes no sense. But anyhow. So
would you go back and kill baby Hitler? Why not? We're
not going to do that.
There is a funny bit at the end of Deadpool 2 where he goes to do that, which is kind of funny.
Kill Hitler?
Yeah.
Oh.
Kill baby Hitler. Anyway, for the record, he can't do it.
Right. And most people ultimately can't do it either because of the idea of free will. Most people believe in free will.
Yeah.
And so going back and being confronted with, the epitome of innocence and like an infant.
Yeah.
We can't get over the idea that maybe he won't.
Yeah.
Which suggests, again, that the whole idea of this movie doesn't work logically. But, yeah, so most people, probably myself included, would not kill baby Hitler.
Yeah.
Because maybe he won't.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyhow, dessert of the real, I guess, is beer or salad.
Go eat a salad. Thor drinking beer. Yeah. And that's how Rocket gets him in the ship. We got beer on the ship.
What kind? I don't know why that would get him on the ship, because he could get whatever kind he
wants
wanted,
to go. He just needed the right
excuse. He needed a reason.
Yeah.
So on the whole, like I can say that I really appreciated this movie.
Yeah.
Actually, I appreciated it enough that as I was experiencing it, I was able to set aside my logical issues with it to just immerse myself in the moment.
That's a big deal for you.
It is a huge deal.
That's a huge deal.
I will also say, going into it, when I loaded it up and it said 3 hours and 1 minute, I was like, I can't. But like,
it worked.
It did. It worked. There was no moment in there where I was like, is this going to be ending soon? Like I have in a lot of these movies. And I was in. And so, yeah, I feel like this was an incredibly well done movie.
I also like at the end credits, you get their signatures of the original, which is, once again, another sign of a sure send-off. I know Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans have hinted at, maybe coming back if it's right, but I desperately hope they don't.
Yeah, me too.
I hope they don't.
Much as I'm gonna miss Captain America,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
just that's the same thing I was saying with the frickin' funeral for Iron Man. That's exactly why I didn't like it.
oh, you know what's so funny?
Because he had this perfect end, and Captain dancing with his wife was a perfect end. Don't add anything to it. They didn't add anything to Captain's, but they did to Iron Man.
We're continue going on in this podcast. As much as it would be beneficial for you, who you are, and your relationship with these movies to stop here, that's not what this podcast is about.
So we're now going to proceed to dismantle all of the positive feeling I have for MCU at this moment.
We might. However, I'm looking at our next, like, just the movies coming out, and there are a number that I would say I'm a fan of.
Oh.
And I'm just also very curious about
how
you're going to react. So there's Spider-Man Far From Home. Then it's Black Widow.
After post-mortem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Widow
gets... Is it like her origin story movie? That would be cool. I would be into an origin story.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for you to see it. And then there's, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Shang-Chi, a character that Marvel is trying to do justice for because the original in comics kind of racist. So they're like, let's repurpose this character. And what's weird is, where's his trilogy? Thor 1, Captain America 1 didn't have to be great to get another movie. Shang-Chi's, I think, pretty good, but where's his next movie announced? You know, why is Marvel not giving us more of some of these? Then the Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home.
So for the Eternals, my friend's going to be joining us.
And it's his first time viewing too.
Yeah.
It'll be an interesting episode. We'll see.
Yeah, because all your friends are pro Marvel. My friend that's joining us is kind of from my perspective. So you're going to have to bring A game to that podcast.
I'm just going to say that is almost the black sheep of the entire franchise.
In terms of suckiness?
We'll see. I mean,
okay.
We'll see. That there's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, dear.
Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels. And that's it. Deadpool and Wolverine will have been out. There are a few announced.
Yeah, I saw that. Which is why I asked. Once we get to whatever this, I'm done with the MCU.
Yeah. So
and
Captain
I have that
America,
on audio.
Brave New World, that's with Sam as Captain. Thunderbolts, that's like the anti-hero team-up thing. With... I don't even know if we've... Oh, yeah. Ghost is in there. I think she's the only character so far you've met. We're finally getting an MCU Fantastic Four. That seemed like a no-brainer forever ago. But we'll see how that works. Blade might not happen because the director just walked away for the second time. For some reason, they can't make Blade. Even though it's Wesley Snipes.
Because he already made it, and it was pretty good.
And... one of these movies has an end credits scene with Blade off screen. You hear a little blade go slink.
Yeah.
And that, we'll see if that ever gets a follow-up. Then apparently we'll see if Avengers 5 and then Avengers Secret Wars.
What else is there?
I don't know.
Ugh.
That's the thing. It gets kind of messy. And then do you have any desire to watch any of the TV shows?
Nope. Except for possibly Loki and possibly WandaVision, but that's going to be... once I get done with this, I have to do a total body cleanse, and
right.
It'd be a ways down the road.
Is next week Spider-Man, and then you can have two of your choices in a row.
No one listens to those, so I'll just do one.
Okay. So, in case you were unaware of all the shows,
I don't care.
I know you don't care, but WandaVision was first. I still am a fan of WandaVision.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what the first episode is like?
Sure.
Like an episode of Bewitched.
Cute.
It even was filmed in front of a live audience. It's all black and white. The jokes are like from the 50s.
Nice.
And then each episode is like a different era of television.
Yeah.
which is really cool.
That's the one I would be most interested in watching.
A movie can't be a tribute to TV like that could be. It's just a cool little thing that people should like. Then Loki, which I didn't like season 1. I was like, all right, this is fine. But season 2, I think.
Yeah, those are the two that I might watch someday.
Then shows you maybe never heard of, except for in this podcast talking. There's the Hawkeye show. There's the Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's Secret Invasion, which is a letdown. There's Miss Marvel. Then there's Moon Knight, which once again should have been a movie. Whatever. Are we going to see more Moon Knight? Who knows? And then there's She-Hulk, which I don't like. She-Hulk in the comics acknowledges she's in a comic. She breaks the fourth wall all the time. This character does too. This movie, she gets powers, the Hulk powers from Hulk's blood, like gets on a cut in her arm, and since they're cousins and related, whatever, blah, blah, she gets powers. So she gets superpowers. She's also a lawyer. She's also trying to date and fall in love. The show's about none of those things. She's not trying to solve like one case as a lawyer. She's not trying to fight one big bad guy throughout the show. She's not trying to fall in love with one guy. Just things happen. And then the next episode, different things happen. And at the end, just things happen throughout each. It's episodic. And at the end, nothing was learned. Nothing was gained. It's stupid. Anyway, don't watch it. It's not worth your time.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for making it through this 2-week episode of Endgame. The extravaganza. Just, there are good things out there in movies. I'm going to just say that. Endgame is one of those things, I feel. I was honestly shocked by how completed I felt at the end of this. So take that. But don't allow even these emotionally powerful movies to just run over the top of you, because if you think critically and deeply and analyze and dig into these movies, sure, you'll see the flaws, like the obvious flaw of the time travel in this one, but you'll also see all of the richness that is behind the action and the explosions and the battles.
Right. We've already mentioned we are on the side of thinking critically will enhance these movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you. Your experience watching them, your relationship to them.
Yeah.
I thought maybe these aren't the only movies we watch. I mean, obviously, Dr. Dietz has.
Yeah, I watched lots of movies.
So I maybe can we get a little bit of time just to recommend some movies we've watched recently?
Sure.
I watched a 1967 movie, Les Samurai. It's a French film, and it's very slow, but I think it's arguably the coolest, in contention with the coolest movie. This hitman goes to do a hit and then, kind of gets arrested, and it's kind of like how he is going to get out of things. And it's a slow moving French film. It's like black and white, but it's not black and white, but the color contrast is so specific, which is really cool. Also, for the first time, I watched Rear Window. Can you believe I didn't see that until this summer? I'm trying to watch a bunch of classic movies. A lot of great stuff in Hitchcock, but Rear Window, he gives himself a challenge basically to stay in one position the entire film.
Yeah.
One point of view.
Jimmy Stewart is so good in that.
Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, that's the guy.
I am watching, it's 2.5 hours long, but it came out in 1927, Metropolis.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting movie.
Because it's in public domain. You can literally watch it on YouTube, which is what I'm doing. Because it's on Tubi for free, and the quality is probably better on Tubi, but the music is, what are we doing? But it's a movie, even though it's in the 20s, you can see a huge budget being put in this movie, like crazy sets, and it's a silent movie, no talking. So find one with good music to it, like on YouTube or something. But
That'll give you some stuff to think about.
Right.
If you enjoy thinking a lot.
so, yeah, there's a lot of movies out there besides these big blockbusters I force Jason to watch. So those are a few that I've watched in like just the last couple of weeks.
Most recently, I watched a movie called American Hangman, which I thought was marvelous. It's kind of a critical thinker's like analysis of the justice system and the weaknesses and the strengths of it. I really liked that. I watched a movie called Monster.
I have heard Charlize Theron is amazing.
She was jaw-droppingly awesome in it.
I think she won the Oscar for it.
Yeah, she did. It's a movie about I don't know if she's the only, but certainly the most famous female serial killer in America. And I was just in awe of how well she made me see the point of view of the serial killer. Mm-hmm. Not in the sense of, let's, go slash people up, but like understanding how being othered and being mistreated for so long and such horrible ways, eventually you have to figure out how to deal with it. So I would, even though I guess both of those are rated R, get yourself, enjoy movies your way. Yeah. I thought they were fantastic. Couple more real quick. I watched a movie called Deadstream.
I don't know it.
It's kind of a found footage. It wasn't great, but I liked it a lot. Like, it was a lot of fun. It's a kind of a found footage horror movie about what's the video version of a podcast?
Oh, vlog?
No.
Oh.
Like a live streaming podcast? Anyhow, it's
about
that.
If we were a good podcast, we'd have cameras on us at all times.
And we're never going to. And I watched a movie called Brightburn, which also was really, really good.
It's like, what if Superman was evil?
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it.
I think James Gunn produced it or wrote it or something.
I don't know. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for plowing through this very long episode. And we love you.
We love you. Think critically.
Think critically.
See you next week. Bye.